What they are trying to do is take back what they believe was rightfully theirs. This is why when we saw the bombing in Spain in 2004, remember the bombings in Madrid? There was a letter left by the bomber who said, this is in revenge for Andalusia. Andalusia was the name of Spain because as Muslims conquered lands, they changed the name of the cities to Arabic names. Yes, he was talking about taking revenge for 500 years ago. While we in America are the McDonald's generation, we lose our patience if we were not served our hamburger in 5 minutes on the drive-thru. They are going back 500 years. And this is why radical Islam is on the march. Radical Islam is on the march because they want to create the Islamic empire. And in order for them to do that, they have to conquer Western nations and bring back the Islamic glory. The Muslim Brotherhood is spread around the world. The Muslim Brotherhood, we found after September 11th, a document that was written by the Muslim Brotherhood in 1982. The title of the document was the 100-year plan for radical Islam to infiltrate and dominate the West and establish an Islamic government on earth. In the counterterrorism circles, that document became known as the Project. In my book, They Must Be Stopped, Why We Must Defeat Radical Islam and How We Can Do It, I dedicated a chapter to the Muslim Brotherhood Project for North America. Now, what makes the Muslim Brotherhood Project very important is because they give tactics and proposals and details as to how to infiltrate the West, how to infiltrate parties, political parties in the West in order to sway opinion, how to get Muslim democratically elected into office and every position in government, in NGOs, in government, in businesses, on school boards, in city councils, in local governments all over Western nations. They talk about how to build social networks within the inner cities and recruit, how to recruit through mosques, how to recruit through madrasas, how to work with like-minded progressive organizations that share similar goals. And this is exactly how radical Islam is advancing. When you look at Europe today, the Muslim Brotherhood Project was written in 1982, almost 30 years ago. When you look at Europe today, when the Muslim Brotherhood Project began being implemented in Europe, Europe is no longer Europe. Europe has become Eurabia. The Europe that you remember you used to go visit 20 years ago and that your parents remember does not exist anymore. Europe has morphed into Eurabia. They didn't have to fire bullets. They didn't have to go to war. They took advantage of the political system in Europe, of the welfare system in Europe, of every loophole in Western democracy that they can use in order to advance their cause, while we in the West were not paying attention. And what's helping them right now do exactly that is the oil wealth that we have discovered in the Middle East that is now giving the Islamic world the money and the power to be able to buy weaponry, develop weaponry, launch and train facilities, create madrasas worldwide, build mosques worldwide. So the way we won against them back in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s, because of the Western Industrial Revolution, now that everything is returned. Saudi Arabia, because of the oil wealth, were able to take their millions and start funding our universities in the United States and all over the world. Many of you who have children on American universities know that our universities are gone because of the millions of dollars that are coming from the Middle East, where they are setting up Middle East study departments and political science departments, appointing Arab professors who are anti-Israel, anti-America, to teach our students that our foreign policy is the problem, our imperialism is the problem, Israel is the evil of the world, and therefore the Arab world and the Muslim world is the underdog. So now we have all this new generation of Americans for the last 16 years who have been graduating out of these universities believing that America is bad and Israel is bad, are now the people working in the media. People tell me, why is the media so biased, Brigitte? I tell them, are you wondering? These are the students who have graduated for the last 16 years out of our universities, who are now the news writers, the news anchors, the reporters, the bureau chiefs, the policy makers, the opinion shapers. And this is why you're seeing what you are seeing today. I call our universities occupied territories. Because if you are a pro-Israel, pro-America speaker, you have to have, if you are pro-Israel, pro-America speaker, you have to have security fit for president to be able to give a lecture on American university. Our founding fathers are turning in their graves. Whatever happened to our freedom of speech? Whatever happened to our ability to stand up and exchange opinion from the left and from the right? This is what makes our country great. But we are losing those freedoms, and we are losing them all in the name of multiculturalism and diversity, and because political correctness is killing us. And I believe political correctness needs to be thrown in the garbage where it belongs, and we need to start calling a spade a spade. So now they are using their oil wealth, not only influencing our universities, but also buying our corporations, buying large stakes in our media corporations, buying real estate properties in our country, and this is how they are infiltrating the country. So today, when you look at what's happening with the new generation, you are stunned. How can this, what happened in Europe, be coming to America? And it took them 30 years to do it in Europe. It's happening in America at a much faster pace. I discuss in my book, they must be stopped. I say, who would have thought that in 2007, Sharia law would come to Harvard University, which instituted women-only gym hours at the gym, because Muslim women decided, according to our religion, we do not want to exercise while men are in the gym, therefore they cannot be around us. So Harvard University decided to institute women-only gym hours. So we literally have the Jim Crow South, being practiced right now at our Harvard University, one of our most elite universities, all in the name of multiculturalism and diversity. And I say that if Muslim ladies can afford to pay $50,000 a year to go to Harvard University to get an education, they can pay $500 for a treadmill to put it in their apartment. Who would have thought that an imam in Des Moines, Iowa, gave an opening prayer at the Iowa legislative session in 2008 in the name of Allah, calling for Allah to give us victory over those infidels, over those who do not believe, meaning over us infidels. You have Muslim taxi drivers in Minnesota refusing to pick up passengers carrying alcohol. This is happening in America. This is not happening in England. You have the first Islamic public school, the Khalil Gibran Academy, opened in New York City in 2007, funded fully by tax dollars. Islamic compounds propping up all over the United States, practicing Sharia law, spread all over the United States. We have over 40 compounds. Many of them, the FBI wouldn't even dare enter. Many American universities are designating Islamic prayer rooms for Muslims only. Since when? What about the Buddhists? What about the Jews? What about all the other immigrants that came to this country? When was last time you saw any Orthodox Jews who have to pray multiple times a day, who attend universities, forcing their religion on a university, saying you have to open up Jewish-only prayer rooms? What would happen if the Christians decided, well, we want our devotion time, we want reading our Bible time in a Christian room only? What would the ACLU do? You'll hear it to high heaven.